Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I will be showing you how to recreate this look, which featured in my first YouTube video. I did a little play around, first impressions, tried out some product, kind of switched the look up a little bit, added something special at the end, so I hope you guys enjoy. So to start, I'm going to be using the Clarins Beauty Flash Balm. This was recommended to me by a friend a long time ago. I still have the same product that I was using. When it comes to makeup, I'm not a huge primer person, but I do appreciate this on my skin. I just feel like it helps my makeup last longer. So I tend to use that on my face as a base. I don't even know, it says brightens and tightens. I don't know if it brightens and tightens, but I just appreciate this as a base on my face. And I'm also going to spray my mist. I did do my skincare earlier, but I feel like I don't want to go in on a dry base. Yeah. Obviously, when you get ready, you usually want to like play some music. Obviously, I can't play some music. That's fine. Anyways, for foundation, I'm going to be using the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. So this is one of the products that I featured in my makeup haul. I think you've got to shake it. You got to shake it. Shake a tambourine, girl. Get yourself a listen. And then some people put it on their face. I put it on my hand. And I'm going to start off with 2 pumps. And then I get my finger. And then I just dot it on my face. Now, one thing about me, child, I love makeup that is easier to do, but kind of gives the illusion that not that I spent time doing it, but that it looks like it's really technical and beautiful and all of that good stuff. So that's the aim when I do my makeup. And then I'm using just the Real Techniques. I'm going to use one more pump. The consistency is a lot different than what I expected. It's not thick at all. It's kind of like, almost like water. I enjoy putting it on kind of slowly, like I'm painting the face. Coming a little bit closer, that's really nice coverage. Another thing about me, I'm not someone that's like, oh, I need to have really thick coverage. I'm fine with light coverage and then using concealers and other products like that to build up my base. But I do have some, I always have this actually. I think it's more irritation that I get across here of my skin. And then I think I have like a dry patch somewhere there. So I'm not someone that really wants to like put too much on. And then for concealer, I'm going to use my trusty faves. And these are the NARS Creamy Concealers. This is the trio. These are the shades Caramel, Chocolate, and Almond. Chocolate would be kind of like skin tone colour. I did use a lighter concealer underneath, so I'm going to go in with Almond. And I just put them a dot here, a dot there, like that, 3 dots, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. And then I'll put a dot here, and then on my forehead, and then on my chin. Ooh la la! Ooh la la! And then I blend that out using another Real Techniques brush. This is called the setting brush, but I've always used this as a concealer brush. And I just do circular motions around my nose. Go as high up as I can into the crevice. And here again, I do the same thing. Circular motions as high up as I can. And then my nose, I do the same, just lightly. And then once we've worked that one in, I'm then going to go in with slightly lighter shades in the shade Caramel. Caramel, which is, actually I'll be able to tell you what the difference is. I've just realised I've skipped a step. No problem. So this is medium deep 3. And this one is medium deep too, so it is literally a shade lighter. And then I just kind of do the same thing. I don't go into the corners, I just go here. And I realise I have skipped a step, guys. So what I would do before I would put this concealer on is use my MAC Prep and Prime. This is a kind of like colour corrector in the shade Peach Luster. But obviously I've skipped that now, so I'm not going to do that. But it just kind of looks like that. It kind of balances out the dark circles underneath my eyebrows. I just put one dot. Yeah, and then we blend that in. I kind of go as close up to my nose along the side. I don't just stick here. I will go a little bit more in to the nose. And I do the same here along the side of my nose. I drag out the excess and then try and blend that in. If you guys can see. Already, that is, if you're into nose contour, that's already contouring my nose. That's giving me the bright eye that I want without looking too intense. And then, if I feel like, oh, if I reassess, I'm like, okay, I need to do a little bit more, I'll go back in again with my Amande. And I just think I need to just do it, and I'll do like a little tip on my nose, a little bit there, and then a little bit there. And then we just blend just by tapping the nose, ever so slightly. And everyone's nose is different, you know what I mean? For my nose, this is the technique I find works for me. And also you don't have to do, you can always skip this step if that don't work for you. And then again, I lightly, so I don't do a straight line. I do like one on the tip, and then I'll do one in the corner, and then I'll slightly drag it down. And that would be it for the base in terms of foundation. And then we're going to go in with some contour. So for my contour, I like to use, and this is by L'Oreal True Match. It's a concealer, but it's in a deeper shade. What is the shade? 10N. What I do is I then just do a dot. So I'll do one dot there where you naturally have a shadow. So if you can see, I naturally have, I guess, a shadow there. So I'll do one dot there, and then that's it. And then I'll get my brush, and I'm using Sigma. Who is Sigma still around? I remember when Sigma was such a hype on YouTube, and I bought this Sigma set, and this was their contour set. This is the Accentuate, well, it's highlight actually, but I use it for contour. It fits perfectly into the groove, and then I just press. And I just kind of shift it around. And I do the same here. And there you go, so that's it. And because I'm a creaser, I will then go ahead and set my foundation, not my foundation, my under eyes pretty quickly. I use the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Airbrush Brightening Powder in the shade Tan Deep. And this is just underneath my eyes. This product is freaking phenomenal. I love it. I love it. It's amazing. And then I just use my puff. Actually, I'm going to use my mirror for this. And I just set. Similar to how I do my concealer, I go quite high up along the nose, and I just go underneath the eye. Same thing here. Quite high the nose, along the eye, so you'll kind of get this look. So naturally, I'm contouring my nose without having to contour my nose, but I will contour my nose, but ever so lightly, and I'll show you guys what I'll do. And I'll take whatever's left on here, I'll do it on my chin, forehead, and then I take the tip of that and I do boop, boopity boop, boop on the tip of my nose. And again, only where I put the highlight, I'll put it here in that crevice. And then to contour my nose ever so slightly, I'm going to be using the Collection 2000 Lasting Perfection. This is in the shade 7. The reason why I don't use the L'Oreal True Match is this is a bit too deep for, I find anyways, for my nose area. I don't want it to be too drastic. So I just take a little bit, and again, I'm going to show you. So I go underneath the nose like that, and then down the side. That's too much already, so I've already done too much, and that's that. I've already gone overboard. You get whatever little brush that you can find, and then I just blend it in. I've actually used too much, and then I go over the top here as well. And then because I've used too much, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a fluffier brush and try and take it off because I think it's too much. And then, yeah, just take it down the sides of the nose. I'm going to use my finger. So, camera cut off. It seems like it cuts off every like 25 minutes. Anyways, I'm going to use the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. I'll either use dark deep or I'll use dark. And then you get a brush, any brush you want. Any brush you want. And then I just use this to just blend all over my whole face. Just to show what it looks like. This is very lightweight, and I use kind of whatever's on the brush, and I will blend that all in. And then after doing that, I will then go underneath the eyes and try and remove the excess, because I didn't forget about that. This is the Sigma Spotlight Duster. And then I take this in circular motions to just get rid of all the excess underneath my eyes. So I kind of do apply a bit of pressure because I'm trying to blend it in, but you should have more of a seamless look now that you've kind of gone over everything and blended it all in. And then once that's done, I will then use my bronzer. My fave. Actually, no. I forgot about my eyebrows. I forgot about my eyebrows, guys. My eyebrows are going through something at the moment. I plucked my brows, I don't know how long ago, but this is not grown in. This one has also been my most sparse brow, but it's not grown in as much as this one. So I'm just going to leave them to feel like do their thing. For the brows, I'll be using my Benefit Mighty Found Brow Pen. And my spoolie, I'm using the MAC 204. So you shake it, and I really like this because it has a 3-prong tip, which I think is really cool. I just start at the base here, and then I just kind of flick it up. Show you guys what I mean. So I'll just do light strokes. I don't look for too much perfection with my brows. I kind of want them to still remain looking natural, so I will lead with those kind of strokes. And then I go back in again with the spoolie, and I will lightly give it a brush and blend in the strokes so they're not as intense. I don't want to eradicate them, but just blend them in. And then once they're blended in, I will go in with the Max Factor Waterproof Brow Laminate. It has a brush on one side and then a comb on the other side. I don't know which side you should use first. I'm going to do the comb side first, just to see. Because I usually just use the brush, but I thought, you know, let me try a full lamination, and then I'll use the brush side to kind of keep it in place. Oh, that's my stomach. Someone's hungry. And there you go, those are my brows. And then after we do the browserinos, I'm going to leave the brows to kind of set in, and I'm going to go in with my Laguna bronzer. It's quite a deep colour, so I have to go a little bit light on the application. Kind of where the contour is, but I will fan it out a little bit. Then we'll do the same thing here. And then what I'll do is I'll take this shade and I'll put a little bit as the base for my eyeshadow. I didn't have a big ton of eyeshadow on in the video. I used my bronzer and I used a bit of my blush. And then I just take it out just a little bit, but not too much. Same effect here. I take just a little bit on the tip. This is an angled brush. I don't know. I like to use angled ones on my eyeballs. I take the angled one and just the tip I will go underneath. So yeah, so I will just go a little bit underneath there just to add a little bit more depth. And that's done, baby. And then I'll go in with my blush. I'll do my mascara and lips and we're pretty much done. I say pretty much. I feel like this is taking quite a while and usually I'll be able to do this in like 15 minutes, but I'll get used to this. So I will be using my Rose Ink blush in the shade Foxglove. I love this shade, okay, but I thought they got rid of it, but they actually have put beauty ink, Rose Ink on Beauty Bay if you want to pick that up. And I'll just put that blush. I go underneath my eyeball, high on the cheek, and I'm someone that I think I have blush blindness, so I use a lot of blush. And if you want, I mean, people say there's a trick, I just go, like I'm being cheeky. It's very buildable. That's probably why I have blush blindness, because I could just keep going. But I think that is enough. And then what I will do with the same brush, I'll go into that blush and I'll just put a little bit, not all over my lid, but just along, I guess like the first third of the lid at the bottom. I'll just put a little bit because I'm trying to keep the cohesiveness, if that is even a word, flowing. And then to blend that all out, like my whole eyeball, I'll use the MAC 224, but you can use any blending brush you want. And I'll just blend that all out. And that's pretty it for the eye. It's very simple because I like eyeshadow, but I am a natural eyeshadow person, mainly because I don't know how to do all the elaborate eyes. I've always just stuck to what I know. Sometimes in life, you stick to what you know. And then on top of this, I'll be using my MAC's Gingerly. It's completely rubbed out at the back. And I've hit the pan. That's how much I've used it. Anything about me is I don't finish things. So if I finish something, that means I love it and it's something that I reach for. Otherwise, I could have something for quite a while. So I just go on top of that. And then even on my eyelids. Why not? Why not? Okay. And then we're going to do eyeliner. Again, I don't do full eyeliner. I do corner end. And the shade, I'll be using, I love this pen. So this is the Tom Ford Eye Defining Pen. And it has two sides. So this is like a thick side. And then this is a thin side. Look how black that is. I think this side is actually running out. It's slightly thicker. Or is it the thinner side? I don't actually know, but it's running out. I'm going to take that. And what I do is, I'm going to try and come quite close. I just go here. In the corner. So like maybe like a third of the eye. I'll start from there. And then I'll just wing it out a little bit. And then I'll try and blend it in up the eye, but that's as far as I go with my eyeliner. And the only reason why I do that is because, like I've said, I have very cute lashes, so to give them a bit more emphasis and depth, make them look like they're longer than they are, I will add this a third of the way down with just a little bit of a flick, just to give the eyelashes a bit more drama. I'm going to do the same here. And then yeah, that's all I do for eyeliner. And another first impressions, first try featured in my haul is the YSL Mascara Volume 4 Slash Effect. And it's gorgeous packaging. I mean, come on. Look at that. It's just a thick ass brush, okay? Let's see how this goes on my cute T lashes. I've actually started using a serum for my lashes by Augustin Bader? Okay, I've got it on. I don't know, you guys tell me, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, we'll see how I like it over time. And then on the lips, 2 lip liners, my favourite lip liners in the entire world. It's the Charlotte Tilbury in Pillow Talk Intense 3 and Foxy Brown. So I first go over my lips with the Pillow Talk Intense 3. Blend that in a little bit. And then I'll then go in with my Foxy Brown slightly in the centre. Lips are actually dry. What a damn shame. And then I will use my favourite lipstick at the moment. It's the Lisa Eldridge, and it looks like that. And if you know anything about these, I think they're the Velvet Mattes. What is this formula? They have this kind of look on the outside that make it look like it's velvet. Absolutely stunning. Go-to lipstick at the moment, and I will just tap it in. I don't want to do it too much. And that's all I'm going to use of that. And then go back in again with the Intense 3. No, this is not. This is Foxy Brown. I'll go back in again with the Intense 3. And redefine my top lip. It's very prominent, you know. So I try to define it a little bit. And then we're going to use, this is Funny Bunny by Sachi Beauty. It's the Lip Elixir, the shade Funny Bunny, and it just looks like that. Ah, there you go. So that's the cutest little doe foot. And then you just go over the lips. That's what that looks like. And then that's that. So I have a birthmark underneath my eye, and then I have a beauty spot here and there, and I don't have it here. But what I would usually do is I'd get a Q-tip and I would just remove the makeup. Otherwise, it kind of then gives this like grey effect on top of them. So I'm just like, let me just completely remove the makeup off there. And then we're going to go with some setting spray. I'm going to use my trusted, well actually no, I want to try something. I want to add my Chanel stick. I didn't do this last time, but when I put it on in the video I thought that looks really nice. It's the Chanel stick in the shade Sentimental. Let me check, guys. It's the multi-use glow stick Sentimental. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a brush actually, and not directly onto my skin. I'm going to put it onto a brush, and I'm just going to put it there. I don't know, I just think that's really pretty. And that's the look, guys. We are done. That is the recreation of my makeup look. And I'm going to shake that and use some setting spray. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter. It's like a melt into the face, makes your makeup look, you know, I don't want to say lived in, but doesn't give that stark powdery finish. So that's what I love it for. I have some that kind of do more of a mattifying. I just think this just makes it look hydrated, alive, natural. And so that is the look, guys. I'll come closer. That is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is the finished look. Let me know if you will be creating in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.